Brookings is out with what I think is actually a really important report about the relative stinginess of major corporations that have been massive beneficiaries and massive winners during the coronavirus pandemic. And they found that the two stingiest companies of all the ones that they studied were also the ones that raked in the most in additional profits. That would be Amazon and Walmart. Even Rachel, as they were touting with ads and all this lavish press release praise on their essential frontline workers, they were giving them next to nothing in additional hazard pay compared to the profits that they were raking in. The stat that they found here was that those two companies could have quadrupled the extra COVID-19 compensation that they gave to their workers through their last quarter and still earned more profit than last year.
Yeah, I think reports like this are going to become even more important as we sort of parse through the wreckage of the economy going forward. Because one of the things I don't think that we have grappled with as a country is the fact that coming out of this, we have effectively wiped out small business in America.
Yep.
And we have concentrated power in these mega corporations like Amazon, like Walmart, like every major tech company. And we've now limited the ability of workers to work anywhere else besides these companies. And, I think a lot of these sort of assessments and naming and shaming, because the report also points out the corporations that did good things, right, that actually did help their employees, I think is really useful. It's transparency. It allows workers to decide where they want to work. But the more you shrink their options as power gets concentrated, you take those options away and you force everyone to become a drone for Amazon when they could, work for their mom and pop downtown that no longer exists anymore thanks to coronavirus.
Right. And that has a lot of impacts. One is if you're a worker, you have no power and no say because you have no options. You have to go work at Amazon or Walmart or one of these giant behemoths who can treat you like crap, as they do and as we've documented on this show. Two is if you don't have local business, that means that money isn't staying locally in your community. It's getting sucked down to Bentonville, or it's getting sucked down to Silicon Valley, or it's getting sucked down to Seattle and where these giant companies are based. So all of the resources that are being spent in your town are ultimately getting sucked down. And there's zero loyalty or attachment, as we've seen, even as they're happy to, send out press releases and run ads about how amazing their essential workers are. They aren't actually willing to improve their pay. You mentioned, though, the report also does talk about the companies that did dramatically increase pay, more than even their profits increased. One of those companies was Costco. Costco already has a very high base pay rate for their employees. It's like $15 an hour compared to the industry. That's quite good. And they increased their rate and kept it high. And it has remained elevated throughout the pandemic, so much so that they actually spent more on additional COVID compensation than they made in additional profit in 2020. Target, you can say the same for. Home Depot, you can say the same for. So it wasn't uniform bad actors across the board. But the two biggest giants, Amazon and Walmart, were the most ruthless and the absolute stingiest to their workers who are, let's not forget it, people are literally risking their lives to go and stock the shelves and clean the floors and ring you up at the cash wrap. And they've been rewarded with next to nothing.
Well, another element of this that's sort of interesting is about the incentive structure to change it, right? Because the biggest beneficiaries of Amazon services are the laptop class, are the people that actually don't have to go outside. They can sit at home, work from home. They never miss a paycheck while people sort of the DoorDash and the Amazon delivery people bring them everything they need.
Yeah.
And so, they're the ones sort of tutting about, how Amazon treats its workers. But as soon as Amazon says, oh, well, you want us to pay them more? Fine. Your Prime delivery is a day delayed. Those same people are going to be like, wait, never mind. And so I think it's like a weird incentive structure that we've created here where Amazon controls major portions of the economy, but the people benefiting from it that actually could be the ones to force some change aren't necessarily willing to do it because they're benefiting from it as well.
Yeah, I think that's really well said. All right, guys, stick with us. We have more Rising for you after this.